Just imagine, the world's most famous scientist is dead. In a small room in a hospital, his body is lying there, and in just a few hours he will be cremated. The family is sitting outside, doctors are finishing the paperwork, and in the middle of all that, one doctor quietly opens his skull, takes out his brain, and decides he's going to keep that brain for himself. The family is not clearly told the full truth, and neither is the world. For years, that brain keeps moving around in a glass jar, sometimes in a cupboard, sometimes in a car, sometimes in a basement. This is not a movie plot. This is a real story. Albert Einstein and his brain. In today's story, I'm not going to tell you only about Einstein's life, but the full incident of what happened to his brain after his death in simple English. Who removed his brain? Why did they remove it? What all research was done on it? Did they really find the secret of genius in the brain? And was what was done right or wrong? Let's understand it from the beginning. Albert Einstein was born in 1879 in a city called Ulm in Germany. In childhood, he was not the topper-type student the way we imagine. Teachers felt this boy didn't talk much, answered slowly, and often seemed lost in his thoughts. Some people even said that Einstein as a child was a little slow-minded. But on the other hand, that same child's attention would get stuck on small things. Why is a magnetic compass needle turning? How does a clock work? Why do stars twinkle in the sky? What is light? Questions like these kept spinning in his mind. As he grew up, even in school and college, he didn't always get a straight path. There were clashes with teachers in many places. He got low marks in exams too. But one thing never stopped: his curiosity, his habit of asking why. By the age of 26, he wasn't any big professor. He was a small employee in a patent office in Switzerland, where his job was to check the paperwork of people's new inventions. But this was exactly the time when the biggest questions of the universe were moving around in his mind. In 1905, when he was just 26, he wrote 4 research papers in a single year that shook the world of physics. Today, that year is called the Miracle Year. After this came his famous theory, the theory of relativity. And connected to that is his most well-known equation, EMC2. Because of this understanding, today we have many kinds of modern technologies, from nuclear energy to GPS. Slowly, Einstein's name became another name for genius. People even started joking, "You've got an Einstein brain." But from here, a strange thing begins. When a person is alive, we praise their brain. But in Einstein's case, people went after his real brain even after he died. Literally, the brain inside the skull. In the last years of his life, Einstein lived in a place called Princeton in America. There he worked at the Institute for Advanced Study. His life was very simple. No luxury, no too much show. Old sweaters, messy hair, a pipe in his hand, riding a bicycle, walking around and thinking. This was his style. The world considered him great, but he himself didn't care much about fame. He kept saying again and again, "Don't worship me like a temple or a shrine. I'm also just a human being." On the 17th of April, 1955, he suddenly had very severe stomach pain. A major blood vessel in his abdomen, called the aorta, had swollen and was starting to tear. This is called an aortic aneurysm in medical language. Einstein was immediately taken to Princeton Hospital. Doctors suggested surgery, but Einstein refused. He clearly said, "I have lived my life as much as I had to. Now I don't want to forcefully stretch it longer with an operation." That night, on the 18th of April, 1955, Albert Einstein died. Now the story takes a strange turn from here. When someone dies in a hospital, many times a post-mortem or autopsy is done so the real cause of death can be written. Einstein's autopsy was also done. The person responsible was Princeton Hospital's pathologist, Dr. Thomas Stoltz Harvey. His job was to examine Einstein's body and make the report. But during this autopsy, Harvey did something that is still talked about today. He removed Einstein's brain from his body and decided to keep it with himself. Normally, in an autopsy, whatever organs are removed are tested and then either put back with the body for burial or destroyed according to hospital rules. But Einstein's brain was preserved separately by Harvey. Biggest thing is, Einstein never said anything like this in his will. nor did he clearly give permission that remove my brain and keep it. The family did give permission for the autopsy, but permission to keep the brain privately for so many years. This was very unclear. In the beginning, the family also was not properly told what all was done with the brain. Einstein's last wish was that his body should be cremated, and his ashes should be scattered in such a place that people could not build any kind of worship place or shrine. That is what happened too. The body was quickly cremated and the ashes were scattered at a secret place near a river. He did not want crowds at his grave, photos, worship, but the exact opposite of what he wanted happened with the two most private parts of his body, his eyes and his brain. His eye doctor, Henry Abrams, removed Einstein's eyes and preserved them separately. It is said that even today, those eyes are kept in some safe place like a bank locker in America. Many people consider them like a memento or heritage. What did Dr. Harvey do with the brain? He placed Einstein's brain in a chemical called formalin so it wouldn't decay. This chemical can preserve soft organs like the brain for many years. Harvey first took many photographs of the brain. He also measured its weight, about 1230 grams. This was slightly less than an average adult male brain, meaning by weight, Einstein's brain was not very big or unusual. After that, Harvey started dividing the brain into pieces. First, he cut it into two thick parts, then divided it into around 240 small blocks. Very thin slices were made from these small pieces and pasted onto glass slides, creating a collection that could be examined under a microscope. Until then, the world believed that Einstein's body, including the brain, must have been cremated, or that his brain had been taken by some big research institute. But the reality was that his brain was with an ordinary doctor, in his private possession, lying in a glass jar. No government record, no big research team, nothing. Just one doctor, and with him, the real sample of the world's most famous brain. When Harvey was asked why he did this, he said he wanted the greatest neuroscientists and brain scientists around the world to study Einstein's brain. Maybe inside the brain they would find the secret of being a genius. Meaning, is there some special pattern that is different from an ordinary human brain? Was Einstein's brain structure unique compared to others? According to some reports, later Harvey spoke to Einstein's son Hans Albert and took some level of agreement, on the condition that all work done on the brain would be only for scientific research, and Einstein's respect would remain intact. But it is equally true that the family was not clearly told that the brain would remain for so long in the house, cupboard, and lab of a single doctor, not in the custody of any official institution. Soon after the autopsy, Harvey's connection with Princeton Hospital ended. Some people say the controversy about Einstein's brain was also a reason. Some mention other reasons. Whatever it was, the reality is that he left the hospital, but he took Einstein's brain along with him. After this, the next many decades are a strange story. A doctor whose job and personal life kept moving around, and along with him, Einstein's brain preserved in a jar kept traveling too. Sometimes the brain stayed in a lab cupboard, sometimes in his home basement, sometimes in a wooden box, and sometimes in a cooler-like container used for keeping beer. Just imagine, the brain that gave a theory like space-time lay for years inside a closed box like some old item. By the end of the 10 years of the 1970s, most people in the world didn't even know where Einstein's brain actually was. Then, in 1978, a journalist named Stephen Levy chased this secret and reached Harvey. He met Harvey and confirmed that Einstein's brain was truly still with him. Levy wrote an article about it, exposing the whole matter, how Einstein's brain kept moving around in Harvey's private custody. After that article, the whole world was shocked that for so many years this genius brain had been hidden in one man's cupboard. After that, slowly Harvey began sending some parts and slides of Einstein's brain to special scientists around the world. These slides are very thin pieces in which brain cells, neurons, glia, etc., can be clearly seen under a microscope. Neuroscientists in different countries, America, Canada, Japan, Europe, began studying these pieces. Now the biggest question, did they find something special in Einstein's brain? Many studies did show some interesting things. In the 1980s, American scientist Marion Diamond studied a part of Einstein's brain and compared it with the brains of some ordinary people. She saw that in some parts of Einstein's brain, the number of glial cells was higher. Glial cells are the cells that help neurons. They provide nutrition, clean waste, keep the environment stable, meaning they manage the brain's support system. Diamond suggested that maybe some parts of Einstein's brain had stronger support, which could have made his ability to think and understand sharper. But this research was on a very small sample, comparison of only a few brains, so taking it as completely true is not correct either. Then, in the 1990s, scientist Sandra Whitelson and her team closely analyzed Einstein's old photographs and some remaining pieces. They found that the back upper part of Einstein's brain, called the parietal lobe, looked somewhat different from ordinary brains. The parietal lobe is often linked with mathematics, imagination, understanding space, rotating 3D things in the mind, and theoretical thinking. Her team said that a part in this region, which in ordinary brains is divided by a groove-like line, was formed differently in Einstein's brain, and in some places the total surface area was slightly wider. Some scientists said that maybe this different structure helped him think even more in concepts like space-time and imagination. In some other studies, it was reported that the thick bundle of nerve fibers that connects the right and left sides of the brain, called the corpus callosum, seemed thicker and stronger in some parts than normal. This bundle works like a fast and better communication highway between the two halves, meaning maybe different parts of his brain could communicate with each other more quickly and efficiently. But one very important thing must be understood. All these results are based on comparisons of only a handful of brains. Either only Einstein's brain was compared with a few others, or only photographs and a few slices were studied. From such small data, we cannot say for sure that, yes, this is the reason he was a genius. We can only say this much. Yes, in his brain, the structure of some parts was slightly different from ordinary people. But we did not clearly find a formula of genius. Also, another thing is often ignored. A human brain is not decided only by birth. Our whole life, what we learn, how much we practice, what kinds of problems we solve, how we think, these things also keep changing the brain's structure and connections. Einstein spent years thinking only and only about difficult science problems. He spent countless hours walking alone, thinking, writing papers, debating. So it is also possible that his brain was somewhat different from birth, and somewhat his lifetime of hard work further changed that brain. Or both together were playing a role. No one has a completely clear answer even today. One more interesting fact: Einstein's brain was slightly less in weight than average person. If only brain size or weight was the identity of intelligence, then maybe he would be considered normal. This reminds us that just having a big or heavy brain is not everything. The real difference depends on how connections are made inside it, how the network is working, and what experiences and practice that brain had throughout life. Now let's talk again about Dr. Harvey and the journey of Einstein's brain. Harvey grew older with time, his job, city, life, everything changed. But Einstein's brain was always with him in some box or another. By the time the 1990s arrived, he himself had become quite old. By then, many scientists around the world had received small parts of Einstein's brain slides, and different kinds of studies had already been done. Finally, around 1998, Harvey decided that now this brain should go back to where the story began. The larger remaining portion was handed back to Princeton Hospital's new pathologist, Dr. Elliot Krauss. Meaning, where Einstein's autopsy happened after more than 40 years, his brain to some extent returned to the same place. Today, pieces of Einstein's brain are spread across different places. Some part is with Princeton Hospital. Some slides are in a few museums in America where people can see behind glass slides labeled Einstein's brain. Some are in research collections, which scientists sometimes still look at. But the excitement is not the same as before, because people have understood that just by looking at these pieces, the easy secret of genius will not come out. Now the biggest ethical question: whatever happened with Einstein's brain? Was it right? On one side, we see Einstein himself did not want people to treat him like a god. He did not want a grave, crowds, people offering flowers in front of statues. He clearly said his body should be cremated and ashes scattered so no memorial could be built. But the reality is that the most private parts of his body, his brain and eyes, were removed and turned into specimens. His eyes are still in a locker, and pieces of his brain are stuck on slides in museums. meaning the man who said, "Don't worship me," had something similar happen to him, just in a more scientific style. Some people say Harvey did wrong, because removing and keeping a person's organ for years without clear consent goes against ethical rules. He should have openly told the family everything, and the brain should have been kept under the knowledge and control of an authentic research institute, not as a private collection in his own custody. On the other side, some people argue that if Harvey hadn't preserved the brain, maybe we wouldn't know anything today about Einstein's brain. No photographs, no slides, no comparisons. In their eyes, Harvey made this sacrifice in the name of science. But the question remains the same. Can we ignore a human being's wishes and personal dignity in order to gain knowledge? Should a person still have rights over their body even after death? Or if science wants it, can it do anything? There is another deep message hidden in this whole story. People around the world believe that if we could reach Einstein's brain, then we would catch the secret of genius like a formula. That which part of the brain should be how big, which nerve should be how thick, which cells should be more, and many more things. But even after many years of research, we have only incomplete answers. Yes, some special differences were seen, but not so clear that we can say, this was the reason he became Einstein. Maybe the truth is that to make any person extraordinary, not only their brain matters, but also their curiosity, their never-stopping habit of questioning, their hard work, their courage not to fear failure, and the habit of thinking differently. These things play an equal role. Einstein himself used to say, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious," meaning even he saw his genius as more the gift of his curiosity than some magical brain. Think about it. On one side is Einstein, the child who kept roaming for hours with a compass in his hand, watching the needle turn and thinking, this is not something visible. Still, by what force is the needle turning? On the other side is old Einstein, walking alone on Princeton's roads, thinking about the laws of the universe. And on the third side is that same Einstein, whose real brain lay for years in a jar, in a box, sometimes in a cooler-like container, sometimes on a cupboard. In a way, this whole story teaches us two things. First, no matter how great a person is, if we turn only their body, their brain, their eyes into objects, then somewhere their dignity as a human being gets reduced. And second, genius is not something you can measure with 1 meter or scale. It is not only the structure of the brain, but also how the brain is used. So next time you hear someone say, "Oh, he has an Einstein-like brain," then don't imagine only a brain kept in a jar. Remember that child Einstein who didn't stop asking questions even after getting scolded by teachers. Remember that young clerk who returned from office and kept sitting alone in a room thinking? Remember that old scientist who said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." In the end, the question is yours. What do you think? What Dr. Harvey did was right, wrong, or somewhere in between? Can a person's brain really show genius? Or is all this a game of our hopes and imagination? Einstein's brain may not have given us an easy formula, but his life and this whole strange story definitely teach us this much. In every brain, if it stays filled with curiosity, there is a possibility of becoming something extraordinary.